back, and thanks again for your patience. We will transition into our panel for today, and we hope to hear more from Cassandra later on in the day. So our first panel is Fostering Women Practitioners and Inventors. Our panelists will guide us through breakout discussions, developing solutions on how we can encourage more women practitioners and inventors. Marisa Frederick is a partner in our DC office focused on complex, high-stakes intellectual property litigation with a particular emphasis on Section 337 proceedings before the International Trade Commission. Claire Cornell leads Finnegan's European Trademark Group, focusing on all aspects of trademark portfolio and management.
Marisa and Claire are joined today by Leanne Gill, Executive Vice President, General Counsel, Corporate Governance and Compliance at Nestle, Samitha Mehtatia, Senior IP Counsel at FIS, Sandra Nowak, Associate Chief Intellectual Property Counsel and VP at 3M, and Catherine Reese, Senior Partner with the Cognitive Business Decision Support Service Line of IPM Global Business Services. Ms. Gill was appointed Executive Vice President, General Counsel, Corporate Governance and Compliance, and a member of the Executive Board of Nestle SA. Prior to that, Leanne had been the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer of Royal Dutch Shell. At Shell, she held the positions of Associate General Counsel, Oil Products, Group Legal Services Coordinator, and Associate General Counsel, Heavy Oil, and Head of Legal Canada. Ms. Mehtatia is a Senior Intellectual Property Counsel at Fidelity Information Services in Atlanta, Georgia. Her career began at Dow Corning, where she used her chemical engineering training to research and develop innovative manufacturing methods for high purity silica and mastered the art of looking polished in hard hats and steel-toed boots. Samitha served as a law clerk to the Honorable Jimmy V. Reyna at the United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit.
As an Associate Chief Intellectual Property Counsel and VP working with 3M's Healthcare Business Group, Sandra Nowak is passionate about diversity in innovation and in the law. She helps lead this effort at 3M and in her role as co-chair of Intellectual Property Owners Association's Women in IP Committee and Diverse Inventors Subcommittee. In April 2019, Ms. Nowak testified before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee on the topic of trailblazers and lost Einsteins, women inventors and the future of American innovation. Catherine Reese is IBM's Global Advanced Analytics Machine Learning Practice Leader. At IBM, the Cognitive Business Decision Support Service Line is focused on helping clients gain greater precision and predictability out of every business decision by applying cognition to fundamentally transform their business. Ms. Reese's global diverse team is responsible for helping clients integrate advanced analytics and data-driven decisioning into their business decision-making processes. Ms. Reese volunteers her time for various women in technology and STEM initiatives. Thank you again, everyone, for your patience, and it's my pleasure to introduce Claire, Marisa, Samitha, Leanne, Sandra, and Kathy. The floor is yours.
Hello and welcome to our session on fostering women practitioners and inventors. I believe Marisa has some slides that she's going to share with us, which I think should be coming onto your screens now. And I'd like to start with a brief introduction into the current state of the patent profession in the UK. And I've prepared some slides which have some historic and some current information about the UK patent profession. And this information has been compiled by the UK group IP Inclusive, which is underpinned by the UK's Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys, Chartered Institute of Trademark Attorneys, FICP, and is also actively supported by the UK IPO. In the UK, the first woman was entered onto the register of the Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys back in 1936. This lady's father was a patent attorney, so obviously would have helped bring her into the profession. She wasn't the only woman patent attorney to practice at that time, as another attorney's daughter had also started working in the profession around the same time. There weren't any further women entered onto the register in the UK for the next 20 years, with the First and Second World War causing some disruption to practice. However, things have picked up, and now there are around 2,500 people on the register at the Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys, where women are around 28% of those registered. I think these figures are from 2018, so hopefully it's a little bit more than that now. The new entrant cohort to the UK patent profession is around 35% women, and that is roughly equivalent to the number of STEM graduates in the UK. So clearly we need to work on increasing the pipeline of women to enter into the IP profession. Across the whole legal sector in the UK, we see a much better male to female balance, particularly at the time of intake, where around 61% of legal trainees are women. However, this picture isn't reflected among the more senior management positions, where only 36% of the partners who are non-equity partners are women, and an even smaller number, 22% of equity partners are women. I think these points are something that are important to be discussed, and we will go over some of these in our breakout rooms today. Collectively, we can look at ideas and discuss things that have come up during the session after our breakout rooms. I'll now hand over to Marisa, who will discuss some of the numbers from the US relating to women inventors and patentees.
Thank you, Claire. And good morning, everyone. So as Claire mentioned, I'm going to focus on some statistics around female inventors. And I think we all know that female inventors have played a major role in US history, but a lot of times the role that they played has been downplayed or often overlooked. And women, and particularly women of color, have had fewer resources to apply for US patents and also to market and commercialize their inventions. So in recognition of that, there was the legislation that was introduced by Congress, the Success Act of 2018, that directed the USPTO, along with the Small Business Administration, to prepare a report on the number of patents that are being applied for by women, minorities, and veterans. This report was put together and submitted to Congress on October 31st, 2019. And what they found was there's limited information on the participation of rates of women in the patented process, as well as minorities, and also that the most of the literature revolved around women and not so much around minorities or underrepresented people. The USPTO published an update to the Success Act report in July 2020, and that's the data that we're going to go over now in the next few slides. So as you can see, the number of women who are applying for patents and being named as inventors on patents have increased, which is a positive sign. I thought that it's good to look at the numbers of women who are actually in science. We have a metric to compare these numbers to. The National Science Board showed that women represent 52% of college-educated people in the workforce and hold 29% of all US science and engineering jobs. And some key findings from the study that the PTO performed is that women are really involved in staying active in the patent system, more so than ever before. That patenting by US-based women grew between 2016 and 2019. Patents with at least one woman inventor accounted for 21.9% of the patents through 2019, and up from 20.7% in 2016. 3M showed the largest improvement in the participation of women as inventor-patentees, and hopefully Sandra can share with us today some of the tips that worked for 3M to achieve those numbers. And finally, I just wanted to touch on the disparities. Some of the, I think, important findings that came out of the report. And that is, and I think this should probably come as no surprise because I see it myself all the time when I'm looking at patents and looking to see who the inventors are. It's usually a group of people. And it's very rarely that it's just one individual who's named as the inventor of a patent. So it's typical, what the findings are, that women make up maybe 1 or 2 members of these teams are being named as inventors on patents. And only 2.28% of global patent applications, so PCTs, come from women-only teams. So that's like 1 out of 500 patent applications include women-only teams, which is a really, really low statistic. This is also another disparity, which I also was not surprised about, but something that we can talk about in our breakout rooms. Women make up the smallest share of inventor-patentees in companies more focused on electrical and mechanical technologies. So women tend to go into more of the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, technology areas. So with that, I think we can move into our breakout rooms, and each of us will have a different question that we're going to focus on, and then we'll come back to the larger group and share what we talked about.